Elizabeth Olsen, a respected literature professor at the University of British Columbia, believes she finally has balance in her life. Freshly engaged to Chris Evans, a charming entrepreneur with a thriving restaurant on the Vancouver waterfront, she feels her future settling into place. But the night Chris proposes, a shadow lurks behind the celebration. Unbeknownst to Elizabeth, Chris's past with Emma Stone, his former lover and current bartender at his restaurant, still clings to his present. Their unresolved history creates a spark of tension that Elizabeth senses but cannot place. This small ripple marks the beginning of a storm she never sees coming. The next day at the university, Elizabeth encounters Austin Butler, a quiet but gifted student with a remarkable talent for writing. His essays are thoughtful, dark, and unnervingly introspective. Elizabeth encourages him to pursue writing more seriously, unaware that the softness in her voice has already ignited something overly intense in Austin. Meanwhile, Austin returns home to Emma Stone, his protective older sister, who senses he is troubled but cannot grasp the depth of his emotional instability. This triangle of proximity, Elizabeth, Chris, Austin, and Emma, begins to weave into a dangerous pattern as the line between admiration and obsession thins. Chris Evans tries to move on completely from Emma Stone, but history keeps pulling them together. When he learns Austin was injured in a car accident, he checks on Emma out of genuine concern. This small act of kindness reignites Emma's unresolved feelings, creating an emotional conflict that neither fully confronts. Meanwhile, Elizabeth prepares dinner for Chris and waits into the late evening, unaware he is caught in Emma's orbit again. When she finally discovers them sharing an intimate moment, a kiss Emma initiates, her trust fractures. The perfect engagement begins to rot at the edges. Elizabeth's heartbreak over Chris intensifies her focus on her work, inadvertently giving Austin more access to her attention. He misreads her kindness as something deeper. When she grades his latest essay harshly, Austin spirals, feeling rejected. His emotional confusion merges with his growing obsession. He becomes possessive, jealous, and eager to eliminate any perceived threat around Elizabeth. Meanwhile, Elizabeth confides in Evan Peters, a close friend and fellow professor at the university, who tries to help her through her heartbreak, but unknowingly becomes another target of Austin's fixation. While searching Elizabeth's office, Austin finds a picture of her and Chris Evans. Rage swells inside him as he realizes Elizabeth belongs to someone else, someone connected to his sister. Austin's obsession twists into a delusional belief that he must save Elizabeth from Chris. That night, he steals Emma Stone's phone and uses it to send Elizabeth misleading messages, framing Chris as still romantically entangled with Emma. Elizabeth, devastated and overwhelmed by betrayal, ends her engagement. Meanwhile, Austin returns Emma's phone as if nothing happened, deepening the manipulation. Emotionally vulnerable, Elizabeth tries to resume normalcy. Austin sees his opportunity and begins creating a fake identity online, William Anderson, to get closer to her. Elizabeth, unaware of Austin's deception, opens up to William as a friend. Their conversations grow frequent and intimate. Austin slowly crafts a version of himself he believes Elizabeth will love. Meanwhile, Emma grows increasingly unsettled by Austin's behavior, but each attempt to understand him triggers his anger. Vancouver's peaceful streets hide the unraveling storm building in Austin's mind. Tension erupted home when Emma questions Austin about the woman he's obsessing over. Austin loses control, slamming her head against the kitchen table. Bruised and shaken, Emma flees to Chris Evans' house for safety. Chris urges her to go to the police, but Emma refuses, protective of her unstable brother. As Austin stews alone in their apartment, his delusions deepen. Every barrier between him and Elizabeth becomes an enemy he feels destined to destroy. His love has turned into a mission, and Vancouver is about to feel the consequences.
Elizabeth continues tutoring Austin academically, unaware of his escalating instability. When he fakes dizziness to lure her into his home, she tries to help, only to unknowingly drink water laced with sleeping pills. Austin reveals his fake identity moments before she passes out. When she wakes, half-clothed beside him, Austin pretends they slept together. She realizes she has been violated and trapped. Austin threatens to release fabricated evidence to ruin her career. She escapes his home, trembling, terrified, and deeply traumatized.
Back on campus, Austin publicly pushes boundaries, calling Elizabeth affectionate names in the hallways, acting jealous around his classmates, and provoking Elizabeth's fear. She attempts to cut ties, but Austin retaliates by presenting her with a threatening photo. Evan Peters notices her distress and tries to intervene, but Austin's eye is already fixed on him. To make matters worse, Austin showers Elizabeth with gifts she never asked for, flowers, notes, even lingerie, triggering the realization that he may be stalking her outside her home as well. Joey King, an enthusiastic student with an innocent crush on Austin, becomes an unwitting pawn in Austin's plan. He publicly mistreats her when Elizabeth observes them, then later manipulates her into a nighttime meeting. Joey believes Austin wants to apologize and study together, completely unaware she is walking into a trap. Meanwhile, Elizabeth seeks Chris Evans' help, finally revealing everything Austin has done. Chris is furious, not just for Elizabeth, but also for Emma, realizing how dangerous Austin has become. Late that night, Elizabeth, Chris, and Emma separately rush to campus after receiving threats from Austin. Rain pours over Vancouver as they desperately try different entrances, only to find the university locked. Inside, Joey King follows Austin through dim hallways, unaware that the danger is closing in around her. Elizabeth and Emma, now united by shared fear, hurry to find help. Chris tries to break in from the front entrance when Joey appears on the other side of the glass, confused and frightened. As Joey hesitates at the door, a hooded figure strides through the rain behind her. Chris calls out, believing Elizabeth is inside, but it is Emma Stone who walks into the building alone, determined to find Austin herself. Moments later, Austin appears and in a tragic twist, attacks Emma from behind, mistaking her for Elizabeth. She collapses in seconds. When Elizabeth and Chris finally enter the building, they find Emma lying motionless. Her death becomes the darkest turn yet in this twisted chain of events.
Austin emerges from the shadows and grabs Elizabeth, pressing a pair of scissors to her throat. Chris lunges at him, a violent struggle unfolding in the dim university hallway. Austin's eyes reflect pure obsession, convinced that Elizabeth was meant to be his. As he prepares to stab Chris, Elizabeth reaches for a fire extinguisher and slams it into Austin's head with desperate strength. He collapses instantly, ending the nightmare. Sirens wail through the wet Vancouver night as police swarm the campus. Austin is arrested, restrained and sedated as Elizabeth watches in quiet disbelief. Emma's body is placed in a black bag and carried away. Joey King weeps in shock, while Chris struggles to console Elizabeth amid the chaos. The media floods the university within hours, labeling it one of Vancouver's most disturbing crimes. Elizabeth gives her statement, trembling but resolute, determined to reclaim her life from the trauma Austin inflicted. Weeks later, Vancouver begins to move on. Elizabeth returns to teaching. Chris supports her, and Joey King tries to recover from the horror she witnessed. But inside a psychiatric wing of a high-security prison, Austin Butler sits under fluorescent lights, swallowing his medication. When a guard casually asks how he's feeling, Austin turns his head slowly and smiles with the same unsettling expression that once charmed and deceived. His story isn't over. His mind still clings to Elizabeth. And in that chilling, quiet smile lies the haunting possibility that obsession like his never truly ends.
We have come to the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it.
Leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting stories. Have a good one!